Test, test, 1, 2. Test, boop. All right, here we go. Here we go. Well, I hope you're ready for some unindoctrination, because ready or not, here it comes. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. You are at the Unindoctrination Station, and I'm also known as a Christian whistleblower, and we're here tonight to help you get some information that you can use to unindoctrinate yourself. We always remind you that you do not have, and you were not born with original sin. Rather, you've got the spark of the divine within, and you don't have to go on bended knee to anybody else's savior, because you are of the divine, you are sovereign, and you are free. That's really our central message. But we also have a message of helping you and encouraging you to optimize yourself across all the dynamics of life. We call it create yourself. And what we're going to talk about tonight is a very big portion of that. We've got Dr. Richard Presser with us tonight, who's going to talk about Nano Soma. It's a product that most of you know, and those of you that know it love it. It's very, very profound. It's very, very powerful. And we're going to have a talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about some other things, and we're going to try to go a little bit deeper than just the physical and the medicinal purposes and applications of the Nano Soma, and try to get a little bit deeper into optimization and even unindoctrination. And with that, let me bring in once again my good friend and return guest, Dr. Richard Presser. So nice to see you, Richard. How are you tonight?
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me to join you. I honor what you do, what you are doing on many levels, not just with Nano Soma, but your efforts to awaken those who listen to you to the truth of how things work in the world. So thank you for your efforts. It's profound and extremely important and enormously valuable in this challenging and difficult time we are living through.
Well, I appreciate that. And we are trying to do our best to bring people information so that they can, deal with what's going on. And as you have just alluded to, we are living in a very challenging time, I think, by any measure, especially the last year. We've had, difficulties with what I would estimate to be a created health crisis, a plandemic, a scamdemic, a stupid 19, whatever you want to call it. We've been very well challenged.
All of the above.
All of the above. We've been challenged by it. We've been locked in our homes. We've been locked away from our businesses. We've been kept away from our loved ones. And they've done everything, they being the cabal, have done everything they can, or at least seemingly so, to try to break us down, to try to keep us down, to try to knock us down. There's been an explosion in suicides. There's been an explosion in domestic violence. Things are not going good in a lot of homes. And yet, even in the midst of all of this difficulty, Richard, along comes this profound little molecule that, while in and of itself doesn't even pretend to heal anything, has found a way to go into our bodies and remind our bodies everything that's good about them, and remind our bodies how to live in an optimized state. And it just shows that even as bad as things are, it was really during this dark time that the light of Nano Soma has been shined across the world in a very large and profound way. And please go ahead and speak to that.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It's really very interesting for me because I have been expecting what we've been going through for the last year, and will go through for some time, for at least 8 years. And that is, I've been expecting...
Let me stop you there, Dr. Presser. You've been expecting what you're seeing for 8 years?
Yes, not exactly. I can't say I was expecting this, the use of a virus. In hindsight, it's pretty obvious. But I've been expecting what is unfolding. I've been walking a deeply spiritual path for a long time, Jeffrey, as you know to some extent, and it's not a journey that I consciously chose. It came and grabbed me by the throat and sent me down a very different path leading to today. I don't regret it in any way, but I have to say it was pretty challenging at times. And I've come to understand that my life is deeply connected to this time that you were referring to, this time, what I call the time of change. So in the last year, it's looked incredibly challenging and difficult. And I'm not saying it hasn't been, and it will continue to be for some time. But what I've been expecting is that the dark, as I call them, or the satanic ones, whatever language you wish to use, who run our world from behind the scenes, which you well know and understand, that they would make a grab for complete control of humanity. And if any of your listeners have seen any of the Hunger Games movies or footage, you will understand a little of what they have planned. I watched the first of those movies and I was sick to my stomach because I knew what we were being told in that movie. That was their plan for us. And as long as I've been expecting this, I have also understood that they would fail in their attempt. I didn't know how, but I will tell you that I'm a pretty crazy character. My life has been about the clearing of these characters, not just on this planet, but beyond it. And I don't want to go further than to simply make that statement, but my understanding, in fact, encompasses that this planet in part was created for the purpose of the clearing of the dark. And we are living through the fulfillment of all of this. And in fact, in my view, in my opinion, an informed view, the recent solstice at December last year, where we had this conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter with the solstice, was a powerful marker. The dark thought it was the moment of their great victory, when in fact, from the evidence that I see from many sources, it is the moment of their great defeat. How ironic, how perfect, how exquisite. And so in my opinion, the reason that the scamdemic was triggered off at the time it was really in preparation for what they planned to do this year and next year and beyond. Whereas in fact what they've done, to use David Icke's term, they have come out through the door and it is clicked closed behind them. So they're out in the open now in a way they've never been out in the open before, with the expectation that they couldn't fail, when in fact what they've done is expose themselves. And for me, this little particle, this product in a sense, came into my life in November of 2019, 2 months before this scamdemic began. And certainly there are no accidents in my life, and I feel profoundly blessed and humbled that this has come to me in this way to, in a way, play its role in clearing all of this. I describe this as the ninja particle. This is a ninja particle, and if your listeners or our listeners tonight understand that term, you will realize that the nature of martial arts is to use the power of the opponent to disarm or in fact destroy the opponent, and this is what this little particle is doing. So my understanding of it today is this particle is older than biological life and in fact brought the template of life to this planet. This is a pretty profound view, but I have evidence to support that.
So this molecule is actually older than biological life.
Yes.
We could extrapolate that it has been helping to enhance and optimize life on the planet before we got to the planet.
Yes. Yes, it's a lipid, and the lipids had to come before biology, because without the lipids are required to create the envelope within which biology exists, whether it be at the viral level. If you look at that image of the coronavirus, we've seen the sphere out of which the protein spikes stick is in fact a lipid envelope. And similarly, the covering of our cells is a lipid. Our skins are lipids. So in a sense, lipids encase biology on every level. Without the lipids, there is no biology. And they don't just encase it, they're actually a communication layer and many, many other things. But they had to come before biology, or biology wouldn't exist. So,
amazing.
So that's the first thing about it. But there is this extraordinary... she calls herself a master intuitive. She started out as a medical intuitive, but has gone way beyond that, who actually happens to be a fellow Australian, and her ability to observe what Nano Soma is doing in the body is truly profound. And at the end of what, and her name Lorraine is Lorraine Mill, and what Lorraine said at the end of what she was talking about was, she then said, this particle does not come from here.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Did she have any conjecture from whence it came?
She did not step into that. She may have. I haven't asked her that. For me, it's enough that this brought this template to the planet, and I have other evidence to support that view. So in a way, this little particle has been part of polycosanol in general all the way through. Polycosanol has been part of most of our unrefined plant food, forever, really, because polycosanol is an implicit part of unrefined food. So a small amount of that is in this nano form. So you might say this has been whispering to our bodies forever. So this relationship is profoundly old and quite profound.
And you said a big word there that it's easy to miss. You said it's been a big part of unrefined food, and the controllers that run this matrix have been trying for so long to get us to eat only processed, highly refined food. So they have obviously been very, very purposeful in their desire to move us away from the unrefined and move us away from the things that they know darn good and well. We could even speculate and say they knew about this little lipid and others like it.
It's possible that they understood this. Certainly, they were pretty clear, I think, that moving us to refined foods, in particular highly processed foods, sugars and refined carbohydrates and these kind of things, which are so destructive to our bodies, suited their purposes. Also, the exercise of getting us out of the sun, making us scared of the sun, how profoundly stupid that is.
Oh, so stupid.
And whereas, what that really is doing is weakening our immune systems and exposing us more to the actions of pharmaceuticals. They turn up as the supposed savior. So,
Richard, when we were young and we went out and got a boo-boo or got a little scrape or got a little cut, if your parents were anything like mine, the response often was, just rub some dirt on it.
Yes.
And now we've come to this place where we're afraid of everything, and we're not nearly as healthy as we used to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a great believer. I grew up on a farm. I'm a great believer in gutter immunity, as the term is. We have an immune system which is designed to protect us. We're not meant to hide inside from some theoretical viral fear. They've been so effective with their fear porn, as I would call it.
Absolutely.
And so, I see the emergence of this little particle in the middle of this scamdemic as no accident, none at all. And, today I would say that all that the dark have been doing, all they've been doing to try and control us, was inside a plan set up by the light from the very beginning.
And Richard, if I may speculate, and this is just speculation on my part, I'm certainly not trying to make any inferences about the product or about Richard. I'm just a very enthusiastic user of it. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube. But we could extrapolate and we could make we could play a game. And let's just pretend I'm the cabal and I have this scamdemic, this stupid 19, this virus that I'm about to bring out. And I know, and even though we have to be careful with this, there's been a lot of testing, and some testing has shown remarkable efficacy of the Nanosoma regards the virus. But if I knew I was going to bring out a virus and bring out a stupid 19 and bring out a scamdemic, I would probably want to get it out there as soon as I could in reference to if I knew of this other little particle that was going to come out and have such profound results, I'd want to get my Lyris working really good before this new product came out. And the timing was very, very remarkably coincidental, if we believe in that sort of thing.
Well, my view is it's worked the other way around. That in fact this Lyris, as you call it, was well understood. I would go as far as to say, when you understand what this particle is doing, part of what it does is effectively trigger a replication of the human genome. So far, Raghu has demonstrated that to within 97%, and he's doing more work just to see how complete it is. Now, when that happens, what it does is set up a reference for the body to correct any interference with the DNA, whether it be genetic, whether it be environmental, whether it be man-made. And when you see this, and if you understand the so-called treatments for this Lyris, to use your language and to stay away from trigger words,
yes.
When you see this and what it's doing, and then you understand what this particle is doing, for me, I stand in a place where I'm of the view that what is happening right now in our world was anticipated and planned for before life began on this planet.
Interesting. What's going on right now?
Yes.
Wow.
This attempt, I will say to you that my understanding and my life journey over the last decade has really been about all of this. And so I view one of the purposes of the creation of this planet was as a final entrapment point, as a last port of call for what I would call the dark. They are being eliminated from all creation. And so,
Richard, I concur. I think this is their last great, desperate attempt to stay off their own not execution, but the word I really where they just go away.
Yes.
Eradication. That's what I wanted.
That'll do. Excuse me. I have no doubt about all of this, and I have to say, Jeffrey, I feel profoundly blessed because, as you know, I've had two extraordinary forms of technology come into my life.
Yes.
In the last couple of years. This is but one of them, and it's for whatever reason, I have a role to bring these technologies and products into the world, and I can only do it with the help of people like you. And so I'm so grateful for what you are doing to help spread this out in the world.
Thank you, Richard.
This is part of a much, much bigger plan that's bigger than you and I. And I watched the timing of this, Jeffrey. I wrote about this just in the last few days. There is a timing to all of this that is not under my control. I keep pushing everywhere I can, but if it's not time for the door to open, it's like hitting my head against a brick wall. But when the time is there, the door opens. And it's just very interesting to watch all of this happen. So, it's a bit of context, if you will, for where this little piece of natural magic sits. And
absolutely.
Its developer, Raghu, understands all of this quite well now, and he owns his spiritual connections through Hinduism. He's profoundly spiritual, this man. He respects the Hindu traditions, and he respects their Vedic astrology traditions very, very powerfully. And these are all just strings of that fundamental spiritual nature that we have, that is there to support us in our journeys. And
that's so important, Richard, that Dr. Raghu is a man of spirituality. He is a man of science. And I would suggest that all true men and women of science are also people of spirituality, and people that are able to see what we would call spirituality maybe as just a science that hasn't yet been discovered. So I think it's very profound that Dr. Raghu is a man of spirituality. And somebody's asking, how do you take the Nanosoma? Well, this is it right here. It comes in a little bottle. Reminds me of a perfume bottle, but don't worry, it's not. I always shake it up a little bit. I don't know why, but I do this. And Richard, if I'm wrong, correct me. I like to spray it under my tongue, and I just give a couple sprays. I take probably 15 a day. Would you do it under or no?
There's no need. You can if you want, but just in your mouth is fine. And the first bottles tell you to spray it under your tongue, but that really came from a guy that was working with me to begin with in the US who put that on the bottle, and I never got around to fixing it. The next bottling will not say it. So there's no need. You just have to spray it in your mouth, and your mouth's full of vitamin D receptors and other things. It's through your body before you can turn around. I will tell you, the first time I sprayed that in my mouth.
Because it has a little bit of a wide spatter, and you don't want to spray your face. Although people are saying that it's very effective topically, Dr.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Officially, we can't say that in the US because you can't use the same product orally and topically, but in reality, there are many other countries in the world where you can use it topically as well as orally, and soon we will have the gel, which effectively is the same product, but more practical for topical application, which is the same product, just the spray is taken and been turned into a gel, which is much more practical for topical use. Same efficacy. You can also eat it with a spoon if you wish, but I didn't tell you that.
Right. Richard, let me paint a totally fictitious scenario. We know that this would never happen, but let's just say, what if? Let's just say that we talked about the Hunger Games. Let's say we get to a really bad place, and there's this thing where they decided that they're going to, I don't know, make us take a certain thing against our will, and that every one of us has to take it no matter what. Now, many of us have said that we would rather take a bullet than take that. Just as an opinion on a completely hypothetical thing, and if you don't feel like you can answer this, I understand. If it got to the place where we had no other choice, but we've got to take this thing we don't want to take, and that they have mandated that you've got to do it, would you be, and again, this is just pretend, would we be, if we're a person that is using the Nanosoma, how would that affect our decision to go ahead and do that versus take a more aggressive and lethal approach?
Well, let me tell you, Raghu has already chosen to be vaccinated.
He has?
Yes. He did it for two reasons. His wife is a physician. Even though she uses the product, she doesn't believe in it. It's very funny. and so she was at him to get vaccinated. His pregnant daughter came back from the UK in the same place saying, oh, you're putting my unborn child at risk because you haven't been vaccinated. They have no clue. And so he decided, and he only told me afterwards, he decided to, in his words, kill two birds with one stone. He calmed the noise from the chattering birds in his house by getting vaccinated, and he demonstrated to himself that all of this would be, well, let's say the symptoms were dealt with.
Absolutely. And, I don't plan to get it, and I don't know what I would do if I was faced with that scenario, but it is good to know that given the possibility of such a thing taking place, that it's interesting and perhaps informative to some to understand and to benefit Raghu's experience. Now, I see we've had several people have written in everything from literally hemorrhoids to cuts to bruises to scrapes to sexual performance to actually turning their hair back to natural color, to making gains in their working out, to losing weight, to feeling better. Other people are talking about getting efficacious results in lieu of pharmaceuticals. We certainly don't want to, we're not physicians, so always check with your physicians. But Richard, it seems like it'd be much easier to explain what Nanosoma doesn't do than try to explain what it does do.
Well, let me tackle that in my own way.
Okay.
And that is to say, this little product treats or heals nothing. What it does do is trigger the body to heal itself in every way against which it has been tested. So there is nothing that is in your body or happening to your body that when it's activated by Nanosoma, and I think that's the best way to look at it, when it's been activated by Nanosoma, it can take care of everything that's in your body that doesn't belong, whether it be heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, nanobots, interference with your DNA in whatever form. These things are all cleared. And
Richard, how would it affect the nanobots? Do we know, or do we just know that it does?
We've done there's enough evidence on several levels to suggest that it will simply clear them out of the body. It's foreign.
Amazing. It's foreign. I gotcha. It makes perfect sense.
And you see, what's happening with a lot of these things is they're assuming a compromised bodily system. In fact, I think they underestimate the power of the body when it's fully empowered and activated. And so these things are exploiting a weakness which, in a sense, they've fostered by weakening our various immune responses. And so when this particle turns up and activates all of the 48 nuclear receptors in our cells, 48 or 9, not just activates but regulates them, is unheard of. Correcting any interference with our DNA, triggering the organs to heal themselves, on and on and on. There is no human health condition, from what I've seen, that this does not trigger the body to heal. So whatever your condition happens to be, it is just evidence of an immune system, a functioning body that is reflecting dis-ease, a discomfort with perfect function. And when you put Nanosoma in your body for a period of time, your body rediscovers perfect function. We have forgotten this for a long time. Again, I love the story, one of the stories that Raghu tells about how he discovered this. He was chatting to an old school buddy when he was in India, and this guy said to him, I do some work with a sugar factory in southern India, and it's only the management that suffer from metabolic syndrome, which is elevated blood pressure and type 2 diabetes and all manner of such conditions, but the workers don't. And Raghu said, what's different? He said, well, you know, the management get to eat the white sugar, the workers have to eat the raw sugar or jaggery. Bingo. It's right there.
It's right there. And it's so amazing. And, you know, I don't want to get off the subject too much, and I don't want to cause you to run screaming away from the program, but I work with what I call white Dianetics, which basically helps clear our minds of what we call engrams or anything that is not optimal. And what Nanosoma is doing, we call that clearing the analytical mind. And what Nanosoma is doing is clearing the physical body. But Richard, I'm going to suggest that it's doing more. Would you say it was a decent analogy that it's clearing the physical body and resetting it to operating standards and optimal standards?
Certainly. It's basically conducting a factory reset, you might say, for the physical. But it's more than that. Raghu's astrologer says this works across 14 dimensions. I don't know what that means. I can't imagine it, but it's going way beyond the physical.
It works across 14 dimensions?
That's what he says.
Well, here's what I've discovered, and I'm just typing in how to order it. Look at the scroll on the bottom of the page. You'll see my website, and go ahead and order there. You don't have to put in any codes. Just click on the link there, and we'll get it to you right away. I believe, believe is such a lazy word, but it's been my experience since I've been taking the Nanosoma that not only am I becoming more physically optimized, and I've been doing fasting, I've been doing a workout, but I mean, Nanosoma just steps it up. But I've also found, Richard, that I'm much more spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically optimized too. Do you think that's just a placebo effect I'm experiencing, or is there a possibility that the Nanosoma is also working on that level for me?
Well, if Roger's astrologer is correct about 14 dimensions, it's going to encompass the things you're describing. And in one of the things I've done a lot of work with over the years has been on emotional and spiritual healing with people. I've come to understand I have a few gifts and skills in those areas. And so it leaves me, I've been able to clear things like PTSD and a little 11-year-old boy that turned up in my place who had that day said at school that he wanted to commit suicide at the age of 11. And his mother basically dumped him on me and left, much to my surprise. And I'd never met this kid before. 45 minutes later, he was this beautiful, chirpy, bright little boy who had, by the end of it, turned it into a game to work with me on this process. And in my opinion, it's one of the many things that have been hidden from us. In my opinion, children by the age of 10 should be taught what I taught that little boy to do. And if people learned this, we wouldn't have people carrying emotional traumas throughout their lives and wearing it as a badge of honor that they're, carrying this scarring as if it makes them recall the memory better or whatever rationale they have. And PTSD would not be part of our lives because we'd simply clear it. Right. Because we'd understand how. It's not difficult. And I want to come back to something you mentioned earlier, Jeffrey. You talked about the great scientists are indeed spiritual as well. And in my opinion, again, it's been part of the plan. But I would point the finger to René Descartes for driving this wedge between science and spirituality. They are all part of the same flow. It was packaged as a separation between science and the church, if you will. But in truth, it was this separation between science and spirituality that set up this model we now have, which most people are inside of, certainly in the Western world, which Rupert Sheldrake calls the Scientific Worldview, where people believe everything is in the temporal, there is no spiritual aspect to any of us, and, we're born, we live, we die, and that's the end of the story. And most people are stuck inside that paradigm. And in my opinion, the seeds of this were sown a good 300 years ago by René Descartes. There are no accidents in any of this process. It's a long game that's been played.
Absolutely. And again, I can't prove this. It's just my sense, though. I am in a position with this platform that I hear from many hundreds of people every single day. And I hear Dr. Richard Presser from Nanosoma. Magic Dicall is his company. So when you get it, if you order it from me, it'll be Magic Dicall. That's his company here in the U.S., correct?
Yes.
So what I hear from the people that do tarot readings, my card readings have become much improved and much more effortless. People that are healers, my ability to heal and diagnose has become much better. Empaths of saying, oh, my empathy has become much better, but at the same time, my ability to shut it off when I want to has become much better. So it just seems like every single person, whether they're hammering nails or whether they're doing energetic healing, has found their skills and their abilities to be optimized and maximized through the use of this wonderful product.
Yes, I've heard many such stories myself, and I know of a number of people now who, I'm aware are quite sensitive, who have said to me, "This product calls to me."
It does. It does to me too. I mean, and literally, I think if I I sometimes, if I don't write things down, I don't always remember them. But when you say it calls to me, I've never forgotten to take my Nanosoma, because it sort of does kind of remind you, or maybe what's happening is your body gets used to remembering, oh, this is the way we're supposed to be. And your body says, hey, don't forget to give us what we need to remember who we are. And isn't that really what we are here? I forget who wrote the book, but it's a powerful book that's called Species with Amnesia. And Richard, isn't that what we really are? We've forgotten who we are, we've forgotten what we are, and we've forgotten how good we are. And this little product is helping us remember.
I agree with all of that. I mean, there's no doubt that there have been high civilizations on this planet before now, and we've had skills that are far greater than the ones we have today. I mean, the fact that this product is described in the Rig Veda from 5,600 years ago
tells remarkable.
Tells you right there that humanity knew about this, but lost it, forgot about it. And again, even though we can look at these point examples in a way, I look at it from this much bigger perspective, which says all of this was planned. It was intended that we forget. It was intended that the dark believe they could grab complete control, that they would remove polycosanol from our food, that they would persuade us to use pharmaceuticals and have us live in fear of a virus, my God, that it could get that extreme until the game would be changed. And this is what we are living through. And so, in my view, and I think a lot of people are going to die in the next few years. And I have to say, I'm not overly attached to the temple. Yes, I want to keep my life going, but in a broader sense, it's really just a very small part of the journey of the soul. And so there are many who have made the choice to come and play their role by departing at this time or at an earlier time. It's part of the, let's say, passion play of the temporal existence. We need to learn to look at it from that higher perspective, in my view. And so we are all here playing our parts in this passion play, which on that level is part of a huge plan that's been played out for a long time. And there is no doubt who the victor will be, and that is the light.
Absolutely. Are you familiar at all with the name John Lamb Lash?
I've heard the name. I can't say I know anything about him.
Well, we had him on Friday night, and he wrote a book called Not in His Image, one of the more important books that has ever been written. And his theory is, and it's the Gnostic belief, that the goddess Sophia came from the stellar core and came out here to where we are, and that she actually incarnated into the earth that we now live on. And you had made the mention that the Nanosoma, someone said, didn't come from here. And I don't think it's too far of a stretch to think that it's very, very possible that the wisdom goddess Sophia brought this knowledge with her from the stellar core. And when she manifested as the earth, it was just part and parcel.
It could easily be so. My view is way beyond the notion of a stellar core, given where I've had to walk to clear some of the things that I've been asked to clear. So, and the thing to get is there's no need for any of us to be right about any of this. They can all be interwoven and in play at the same time, and these things can be expressed in many different ways on many levels and all be entirely valid. They are simply an interweaving of truths from different perspectives.
Absolutely.
That's how I view it. So that could what you described there could easily be so.
Just something I was thinking about, because someone had mentioned earlier that the guests that we have, and I wish I could say that I do this with intention. They all seem to flow together, and what we're talking about flows together. I really don't do it and plan it that way. It just happens that way through the universe. And we've had several people that have been right on the same vein, and this is right in it again. Very, very powerful. Here's an interesting question. It's not really a question, but it was a statement by Tom regarding sleep paralysis. Have you had any testimonial evidence on sleep paralysis and the Nanosoma?
Explain to me what sleep paralysis is, because I'm not familiar with the term. I have an idea about what it is, but if you can explain what you
Sure.
mean by it.
The way I think about it is a lot of times when people are leaving their bodies for whatever reason, astral travel or in their dreams, when they come back, sometimes
Yes, okay.
they can get into a period that is usually only a few seconds, but it seems like forever, where you're actually paralyzed in your body. And this person is experiencing it a lot, I guess, and they're wondering, is there any testimony regarding nanosoma and
I,
sleep
I don't
paralysis?
I don't have any testimonial about that, but I would see that on some level as being some imbalance or disconnect on some level, and I would expect that this would be resolved. One story I can tell you is that I think there were 3 people now who were in a coma, had been in comas for certainly
Right.
months, if not longer, and Nanosoma was simply sprayed on their lips or in their mouth, once a day for a few days, and within a week or so, in each case, they woke up.
That is so amazing. And, I'm just sitting here thinking of all the possibilities, and there's got to be a way to test this. I don't work with individuals as much as I used to, but, back in the day when it was my job to quote unquote cast out demons every day, I would have loved to have seen what would have happened with people that think they're demonized and that are suffering the effects from unbalanced spirits. I'll bet that this nanosoma would be absolutely profound in helping people deal with that sort of thing.
I expect so.
Yeah,
I can't say for sure, but I expect so.
Absolutely. It's just it really is an amazing, powerful product. And I got an email from you talking about your other product. Can we touch on that just a little bit to just maybe give a little teaser to people?
Sure. Yes, literally yesterday, I've announced a new version of the Dpe Defensive Planet Earth products. The major product I've had is a product called the Dpe 100, which basically protects an environment 2 kilometers in radius from extreme EMF energies, from radiation and so on. So it protects a zone, it protects from sub-hertz geopathic energies through to beyond 5G, and basically it absorbs those excess energies and puts them in the ground. This is like an earthing rod, if you like, that's buried in the ground. And the evidence is that it's absorbing, of the order of 8 megawatts and more of energy into the ground. So people ask me, what about these little devices that I can buy that protects me on my house? You think about 8 megawatts of energy. You're not going to get rid of those energies without a serious device buried in the ground. It just ain't going to happen. So that's what this thing does, and it's also been demonstrated to deal with radiation fallout, which we knew, and it got demonstrated with the Beirut bombing last year, which certainly was not recognized in the press as being a nuclear device, but it was. And there is a big brother to the Dpe 100 called the Dpe Shield, which is installed in southern Italy. And during the fallout, as it traveled over, it triggered lightning over this device. Now, normally you don't see lightning around these devices, even when there are thunderstorms around. That's one of the things that cancels out. So you don't have thunderstorms, you don't have hurricanes, tornadoes, any of these things coming your way. I left my door open, but I'm going to close it because my noisy Brazilian queen is disrupting the background here.
But as I sit here and think about these products, they are kind of working together. One is taking care
Absolutely.
of the body, and one is taking care of the body of the earth.
No doubt about it. In fact, one of the reasons for this device is that we are told by our off-planet friends that gave us this technology is that if we don't deploy enough of these around the planet, within 2 or 3 years, we will see 6 months of hurricanes and 6 months of a drought across much of the planet, within short order. So that's a big driver. But the new device I've just launched triggers a dramatic increase in agricultural production within a zone of about 300 acres, to use US language, 120 hectares. You will see increase in growth rates of about 50% and in crop yields of up to 200% increase with no fertilizer and no pesticides and about 50% of the water you would otherwise need. It's simply using the energies of the sun, the earth, and the cosmos to drive this plant growth. In fact, these are the true drivers to plant growth that's not been fully understood. And when you harness it fully like this, magic starts to happen. It's truly profound. And so these devices will, over time, profoundly increase our ability to feed the people on this planet. And so we are beginning a pilot in a state in the US, a farming state, where somewhere between 10 and 100 will be installed this season. And as a result of that, I expect we'll see them flow out dramatically across the US. This technology also this device has the ability to deal with the noise from these wind turbines, which are becoming a real pest for many people now. And so this device will dampen out the noise of these things. It's quite extraordinary. So I literally announced that yesterday, and we'll start shipping them to the US and elsewhere in the coming days. And I have a similar project also happening here in Australia with this. So we will verify all of this over the next 12 months and demonstrate these extraordinary increases in crop yields of crops of all types, fruits, vegetables, grains. It'll transform the food production on the planet.
That's so amazing. And as I sit here, and again, we're at a time that's difficult, we're at a time that's challenging, and yet at the same time, emerging to us for our easy and simple use are products that we can literally use to take control of our bodies and our health, and to take control of in a positive way and support the planet. So it really is an exciting time to be alive, and it's not a time to be feared. It's a time I would suggest to be celebrated, and that we should become thankful for the time we're here and just refocus, and we'll be able to move into this really a time of plenty and a time of optimization, and not a time of fear and dread.
I agree completely. We are living through the time of the great victory. It just doesn't look like it yet. And as I said, not everybody that's here today will be here tomorrow at the end of this. And frankly, there are a lot of people who won't wake up to what's going on. And, maybe they don't have a place beyond this time, because they won't understand what's happened. They won't connect with it. There'll be a lot of people who will wake up, and my wish is that everybody does, but I'm not holding my breath. But
No.
the future is ours, not the dark's.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Are you up to taking a few calls?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. You see over my left shoulder, the phone number is 913-279-0831. You also see it scrolling down along the bottom of the screen. And all I ask is that when you call, you be polite, you be interesting, and get right to your point. If you call and hear "Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower," just hit 0. If you call and you hear music, that means that you're on hold, and we'll get to you right away. Susan just asked, can you tell us again what a Dpe is?
It stands for Defensive Planet Earth, and these are on a separate website from a separate store from the Nanosoma products. The brand name for those products, the business name for that is Magravs, Magravs, Plasma Products. I'll probably change that name going forwards, because it reflects some historical relationships that were in that business. But
Right.
That's the business name, magravsplasmaproducts.com. The website that you can go to, which introduces the Dpe products, is just called Dpe 100
Perfect.
Dpe100.com. So that'll give you the information on these products, and you can link to the stores from there. That's the simplest way.
Excellent. It's late night in the Heartland, and you're live with Richard Presser.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Richard. How you doing?
Let me turn
Good.
it.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't say enough good things about your product. It's absolutely amazing, and you're a wonderful person, and I really respect everything that you say. I can just tell what a wonderful person you are, and you're doing a really amazing thing for humanity, and I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in with that, Chuck. That was very, very kind. And it also happens to be true. So that's a really good thing as well. Now, are the Dpes available for retail sale at this point?
Yes, they are. The Dpe 100 is in stock in my North Carolina warehouse. The Dpe Agriculture will be in stock, probably 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
They're just about to be shipped to the store, so you can order them today and get them in about 30 days. The Dpe Shield, which is the big brother to the Dpe 100, which covers a zone of 100 kilometers in radius, so it's a big device. They are built to order, so you're looking at 90 days lead time for one of those devices. And there's an even bigger one, a Dpe Symphony, that covers about 1 million square kilometers. It's a big device.
So the Dpe 100 would be applicable for a homestead use, right?
Absolutely.
Provide.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Dr. Richard Presser.
Hey, it's Scott in Columbus. So one of the things I was wondering about, love your product. Do you guys have anything in place to prevent somebody from like tampering with your production lines, or, if let's say the powers that be wanted to buy you out, or, any sort of way they want to disrupt supply chain on the Nanosoma?
Interesting.
It's very interesting because on the path that I walk, I have come to understand that one of the things that's happening right now is there is a new consciousness which has grown up beside the old. It's not obvious unless you're plugged into this, but the things which are inside the new consciousness are protected. It's hard to get, but I'm satisfied that this will not be interfered with. I'm satisfied that Raghu will not be tampered with, and I know that I'm protected. That can sound arrogant. It's not. It's just a statement of fact. I have abundant evidence for that truth because of what I'm here to do. And so I'm not too concerned about disruptions of the supply line, to be honest with you. I'm just getting on with getting it out there. I do think we need to be a little careful about how we spread it in the world. I think these conversations are beautiful. I think that, as people who have the kind of influence that Jeffrey has in the world become more aware of it, we need to manage how they go about sharing it out in the world. Because I think it needs to spread at the grassroots level, not top down. And so this is a beautiful way for it to be spread. And so we will keep doing that. And it's very interesting, again, coming back to Raghu's astrology. He told him years ago, this will spread person to person to person. And this is what we are seeing.
It's amazing.
And in a way, what Jeffrey is doing is amplifying that process. And so thank you, Jeffrey.
It's my pleasure. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Richard Presser and Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hello.
Go ahead. You're live.
My question to Richard is, I actually asked it to you earlier. I have a mother load of allergies. I'm allergic to propylene glycol, and I'm also allergic to histamine. And I'm wondering if it would be safe for me to use your product.
So there has yet to be any sign of reaction to this product in any way. None. I would not be concerned about it. What you might experience, and this is really not related necessarily to your allergic responses, though it can be, because these things have an underlying basis, okay? They are telling you your body is out of balance in some way. allergic reactions are really telling you that you have an autoimmune response on some level. And these are related to the nuclear receptors in your cells not operating properly. This product will fix those things. And you may experience, and quite a number of people experience, what is known as a healing crisis in natural medical world. It's not uncommon. And we are seeing more of that in the US than we've seen anywhere else, and we don't know why for sure. Is it because of the food here, the greater use of pharmaceuticals, the fact that pharmaceuticals are now in the water supply largely? I don't know what it is. We don't know. So we do see more evidence of healing crises in the US than elsewhere, but these things pass. And there's a guy that I've been working with who has had a severe reaction. Again, it's not because he's allergic to the product, it's just triggering his immune response. Right. And I've gone with him as far as to say, put a cotton bud into the top of the bottle and just wipe a little bit on your skin. You'll get enough of it from that and build up from there. Find the level at which you can handle this, whatever it is.
Absolutely. Now,
then work your way back.
Richard, when I abuse it, I do get a little bit of a healing crisis that sends me to the bathroom every now and then. But that's the worst thing that happens to me. And I have to really, sometimes I'll, 20, 25 sprays a day, and that's probably a little excessive. But yeah, that's the only thing that I have ever seen that is anything other than 100% helpful from this product. Is there anything else coming down the pike, so to speak, that you're looking at?
You mean related to Nanosoma or more generally?
Just generally.
So speaking about Nanosoma, there is a gel and a cream, and these have been produced for some time. The gel, as I mentioned earlier, is a topical version of the product. So any kind of skin issue, rub this on, it's incredible. And the cream is really a facial cream, and it's a profound healing cream for the face. I tell you, in this household, if I ran out of that, my wife would not forgive me. She loves it. And this is the response you typically see from women, especially, who are, on average, more aware of how they look than we mere males tend to be.
Good thing.
And so, amen to that. So they are coming down that line. I expect over the next year that I will have a personal power supply that's plugging into the background energy field and bringing those energies forth so you can disconnect yourself from the grid. I expect that's a year away. I am expecting, and I don't know if this will be available via me yet, but the man who has developed the Dpe technologies is currently working on a healing tunnel that you walk through a few times at one time, and it triggers a return of your body to a biological age of about 35 in very short order.
So keep us posted. Has Raghu had any other testing of his age since the last time? He
gets it done every 2 or 3 years. He had it done about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's back to 48. So 2 years ago it was 51. Now it's 48.
Well, let's take one call. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Richard Presser.
Hey guys, this is Bobby G from Colorado, man. Great show. I respect you totally, Richard. You have an awesome product, and I'm only on my second bottle, but on the dreaming thing, I used to not dream for years and years. I just didn't, for whatever reason. I don't know, it was always dark or black or whatever. Didn't remember anything. And now it's weird. I dream. I'm in control of my dreams. I can wake up, take a leak, come back to the same dream. It was cool dreams. Like, wow, that's cool, I think that's crazy, but it's kind of cool. And I have eczema, and it's going away, and that's so awesome.
Yes.
And
yes.
So my question is, I have some back issues also. Is that going to help? Will it help my muscles eventually heal, slowly or something?
Great questions.
The evidence is that it can resolve quite severe structural problems. I have a friend, a guy who's been following my spiritual work for many years, and he had a scoliosis for most of his life, which he now puts down from his own research. He puts down to the polio vaccine that he had when he was younger.
Yep.
So he's been using the product for maybe a bit over a year now. That scoliosis is now completely resolved. His back is now straight. Those muscles that weren't working, in his right buttock area and so on, and didn't build up and gain strength and hold strength, now are. So his back is straightened up. The pain is gone for the first time for 50 years. He's blown away. I expect that he will make a video of his experience. He's also had a whole range of other profound healing outcomes by using the product. So it depends a little bit on the underlying condition. I wouldn't say that it's going to it's not one of those things get resolved in 5 minutes, but in my view, there is nothing going on in your body that's not optimal that won't get resolved with time. It may take, some years for it to happen, but you give it time and it will unfold.
And Richard, I can just testify to this. In August of last year, I weighed over 50 pounds more than I do now. And I rectified that mainly through adopting a keto lifestyle, which was encouraged by my friends over at Keto Rocks Radio, so make sure you go check them out. And then I found a guy on YouTube. His name is Victor Watinko. It's spelled with a V, but it's Igor Watinko. And I'm telling you, this guy has the most profound, it's just body weight exercises. I've been doing them I'm about to finish up his 30-day challenge. But Richard, I was a bodybuilder back in the day. I've worked out with weights. I have two black belts. I know a lot about physicality and exercise. And I'm telling you, using the Nano Soma in conjunction with Igor's body weight training, I'm going to do some videos and talk about these things in a few weeks. And I'm telling you, the loss of body fat, the sculpting and growing of muscle mass, according to my calculations in my own life and my own experience, is greatly enhanced and aided via the use of Nano Soma.
Fantastic. One of the things that's going on that's underpinning that is a restoration of your hormonal balance that's more reflective of, your, shall I say, younger years. So testosterone levels are restored. It's actually spelled out in the patents that this happens. So I too have noticed the ability to build muscle mass and hold muscle strength. Not that I'm working out, not doing enough exercise really, but I noticed a significant difference in my ability to both build strength and fitness and hold it in a way that I haven't been able to do for maybe 25 years. It's wonderful.
And Richard, I also want to add that I've had a chronic back problem. I played many years of football and post high school level and just a tiny bit professionally, and then played many years of hockey as a butterfly goaltender. If you know what that is, it's going down and your legs are going in ways that aren't supposed to be. And as a result, I've had chronic hip and back issues, and no matter what I've done, no matter what type of workouts, I haven't been able to do it. But now, since I've been using Igor's workout in conjunction with the Nano Soma, I can actually, it allows me to more focus on, the abdomen and the core muscles, not use the back, and it has actually helped me strengthen the core muscles around my back, which is taking so much of the strain off of my back. And I'm telling you, the Nano Soma is a near miraculous product. It's incredibly powerful, and it will, I'm telling you, not only does it help you with any infirmities, it helps optimize you physically, it helps optimize you mentally, it helps optimize you emotionally, it helps optimize you spiritually, and whatever your giftings are, those giftings are enhanced and amplified. And I will go as far as to say that your connection with divinity, the blockages and the static, if you will, is removed, and it It makes you a better human being, and it makes you, gives you the ability to create yourself, find your great basic purpose, and be everything you're supposed to be. But other than that, it's not that useful.
I love that. You know, it really is returning us to the truth of who and what we are. This is what it's about. It came here to trigger biological life, and it's come back to wake us up. As Raghu puts it, he says, it's like the Godfather particle, and when it turns up, it says to the cells, hey, listen, I taught you 2 million years ago how to behave. You haven't been doing it. Now get on with it.
Absolutely. Dr. Richard Presser is his name. He's the one that made me aware of the Nano Soma. Also, check out dpe100.com. What else would you like to leave with us as far as contact information, and as far as leaving something for the folks to think about tomorrow at the water cooler or in some of their personal downtime? Dr. Richard Presser.
Whew, that's a big ask. Any of the websites can give you a way to contact me. So if you want to contact me directly, you're very welcome. I respond to every phone call and email I receive from anybody. So I will respond to those things. Feel free to ask me anything that you wish. But I will say again, we are living through a profound time, and if you are living in fear of what's happening, step beyond it. Begin to recognize you are here as part of a fundamental transformation which is occurring not only on this planet, but across all of creation. And so I bless you for being here, and I thank you for you playing your part in this extraordinary time. And do not feel under threat by any of this. Find your power. Remember who you are.
Absolutely.
So it is.
Somebody in the chat said Dr. Richard Presser is his name. Optimization is his game. And I will second that. Richard, it's been a profound pleasure to be with you. Let's get together and have a conversation personally over the next few days. Thanks so much for everything that you're doing. And I just have one more question. How can this be done, this product offered so inexpensively?
I will tell you that the way I run my business is with very few people in the process. And, I've run businesses with lots of people in them. I'm not doing this here. And, we're just doing the best we can to get it out into the world, and hopefully with time it will become even cheaper. My vision is that in 10 years' time, everybody in the world will use this. And I don't need to tell you, there are many people who don't have any kind of income. So how we'll get that to happen, I'm not sure yet, but I believe the answers will come. And I believe that humanity in 20 years' time will look back and wonder how it was that we walked through this time when illness and disease and aging were part of the human experience, because they won't be anymore. They'll be gone.
Yep. Maybe we can work something out, Richard, where we do something for the people and we offset it between us about, if you buy a bottle, you can gift a bottle or something like that. Well, maybe we'll discuss something like that and see if we can expand the reach a little bit.
Sure. I'm open to many possibilities. At the moment, I'm bootstrapping my way up as so to say. So, getting the engine room rolling is still an important focus of mine. So, but we'll get all this done with time. The answers will come. The answers are not up to me. They come into my life in various forms, and just as you have, Jeffrey. And I thank you for your contribution in helping to awaken the world to this piece of natural magic.
Dr. Richard Presser, thanks so much for being with us. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening.
It's my pleasure. That's Dr. Richard Presser. He is a gentleman and a scholar. And there's so few of us left, ladies and gentlemen, so few of us left. And I say that only halfway jokingly, because there's not enough good people in this world. And he's certainly one of them. And even though Richard had to leave, it's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. Richard's gone, but I'll entertain any question that you have. Do my best.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it was awesome to see Richard on. I was a little bit late, but it was great to hear him talk about all the things that they're working on. And I was going to suggest that if you're growing any house plants or any food, I would recommend maybe getting diatomaceous earth. And
I was
that
taking that, and I've forgotten to keep taking it. And it's a profound thing for removing what is wrong with my
worms and parasites.
My vocabulary is fleeing me tonight. And I'm gonna talk to Cynthia after. Well, she'll be pretty much asleep, but I'm really interested in trying out the Dpe 100. And hold on before you order those. I think I might be able to work out something with Richard, but because Cynthia's growing all kinds of stuff, and there's stuff that we, if it can really increase the yields, it would be amazing. Yep. So I'm gonna get with Cynthia on that, and get with Richard and see what we can do on that. But can you imagine? I don't care how many acres of farmland Bill Gates has bought. He's the largest farmland owner in the United States. We've got the technology to defeat these evil bastards. They can pump anything they want into us, but as long as we're pumping the Nano Soma in, they cannot defeat us, and they will not defeat our beautiful planet.
Richard is definitely more intelligent than Bill Gates, and I was going to also recommend that on top of the diatomaceous earth, when you put that in the plant soil, spray some Nano Soma down in there.
It can't hurt, that's for sure. Anything else on your mind?
Right. No, thanks.
Thanks, Brandon, for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm always an optimistic guy. You know that if you've listened to me for more than 35 seconds. But talking with Richard and being able to step back for a moment, because when you're behind one of these and you've got to drive the bus most of the time, you get really busy, you get really active. But when you get a chance, and I had a chance last Friday night to sit and listen to the profound John Lamb Lash, and then we had a chance to listen Saturday and today to Gosha, and then I get a chance to sit and listen to Dr. Richard Presser, and it's so nice to be able to listen and learn and kind of get fed in the old church colloquial terms. And listening to these are some of the giants. Listening to John Lamb Lash, listening to Richard, listening to Gosha, it's powerful. And I just feel myself being more optimistic. I find myself being more encouraged than ever before. And I have a feeling on Thursday night when Jason, and I don't know how to say his last, because he's got the umlaut over it, and I know how it's supposed to say in German, but I don't think he pronounces that way. Jason Kona, I think is how he pronounces his name. No White Guilt. I think it's going to be another one of those times where you're going to sit there like you were with JLL, John Lamb Lash, and jaws will be dropping, and there will be great truth being put out there for folks. And Tracy saying JLL was so good. And when Tracy Dyer thinks you're so good, you really were so good. And we appreciate every one of you for being here. Jason, Brandon says, is simply profound, and he's very intense, and he's no nonsense. And I think you're going to like him. He'll be here Thursday night, and he's going to stay for the full 2 hours. Hell, he does 8-hour live streams. 2 hours, nothing for him. So he'll be here on Thursday night. He's from, I got a mosquito in here. He's from No White Guilt. That's his YouTube channel. And I am really, really excited to have Jason here with us. It's been a while putting it together. And we're going to have John Lamb Lash back as well. And it's just going to get better and better and better. And they have done a great job beating us down for a year. They've done a great job. It's called No White Guilt on YouTube, right? They've done a great job beating us down. They've done a great job putting us under fear. They've done a great job putting us under doubt. They've done a great job trying to get us to think that things are getting worse. And then they're aided by all of these numbskulls, and that's the best thing I can think to call them on YouTube, that want to tell us how bad everything is, and this is just about to happen, and that's about to happen. They're going to start chopping heads and marks of the beast. Ladies and gentlemen, no. The best is yet to come. I promise you, the best is yet to come. This world, this country, your life will be better than it's ever been sooner than you can ever imagine if you'll just have the guts to ask questions, question answers, unindoctrinate yourself, and get busy. You got this, as Brandon is constantly saying. You got this. Don't let them convince you that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Their world is. They know they've lost. We're that close to victory. We've just got to hold on, and not just hold on. It's time to head them up and move them out, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages. And I see that we had a stupid person sneak into the chat, but that's all right. I got rid of them. The phone lines are still open, 913-279-0831. If you have a question, if you have a comment, please go ahead and call in. The best optimal humans are here now. It's us, absolutely. And things like the Nanosoma are just helping us get there quicker and get there sooner. And I really, really appreciate each and every one of you being here with us. If you have ideas that you want me to do a show about, email them to me. I always read all of my emails, and just for chuckles and grins, I want to show you what the Dpe looks like, the Dpe 100. I think this might be the Dpe agriculture, but they're both basically the same shape. This is what they look like. And that's not the right one, Jeff. Come on. What do they look like? Let me try this one more time. Share. I know how to do this. I've done it before, but it might not want to work with me right now. Here's a Chrome tab, Nanosoma. You know what? It's being persnickety right now. It's not going to work. So anyway, we'll get you the information of what they look like. We'll get you the information of what they do. And folks, I just want you to be encouraged. I just want you to be optimistic. And I want you to know the best is yet to come. How did the chairman of the board put it? The best is yet to come, and won't it be fine? It will be. And it already is, ladies and gentlemen. We've had Richard Presser with us tonight from Nano Soma. We've got the best chat room in the world with us tonight. We are on the verge of victory, and this is no time to start thinking about defeat. Tomorrow night, I'm going to bring you a subject that was somewhat inspired by John Lamb Lash. And it is a subject that I think is going to blow your mind. It's something that I don't think you would ever think about. And it is going to get us to the place where we know, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in for victory. We know that we're in for power, and we know that this is ours. And I'm trying to find the spiffy thumbnail that I created to show it to you, to get you excited for tomorrow night, but I can't find the damn thing right now. We'll do it this other way, because I want you to see this, because I want you to see the name of it. And some of you are going to say, oh, I get it. And the rest of you that don't say you get it now, you will get it after we get done showing you this presentation tomorrow night. And I am super stoked for it, because this is one of the keys. Jeff, what do we do? Jeff, where are we going? What do we do? How do we recover? How do we win? What do we do? It's so terrible. It's so awful. Well, folks, I'm about to show you this, and this is going to give you, I'm going to do this. This is going to give you hope. This is going to make you feel better. And when you realize what we're going to do with this, it's going to blow your mind. Let me just show you this little bit of it. It's not ideal. Remember, it's still a work in progress. And let's see if our share will work this time. Share screen, share second screen. And if you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, can I make this go full? I don't think I can. But, oh, do that. There it is. Melchizedek. Melchizedek. Think of what John Lamb Lash said about what Melchizedek was. Think about what Q is and start putting the two together. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, right here on Late Night in the Heartland. We're going to bring you a powerful realization, and a realization that has the power to set you free and encourage you more than maybe anything of recent times. Tomorrow night, right here on Late Night in the Heartland, Melchizedek. You're not going to believe it when you hear it. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, right here, like usual. And ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a good day. It's been such a powerful day that we're going to call it a day. We're going to go ahead and get out of here for tonight. We're going to get ready to discover our great basic purpose, to go to work, and to manifest our divinity, our sovereignty, our freedom. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. It's Late Night in the Heartland, and I thank you for making my day. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again real soon.